Hey guys, so welcome back to my channel. This is going to be the first of many of a little series that I'm going to be doing based around all the struggles that entrepreneurs face on a daily basis. And this video is going to cover my top 5 productivity hacks. Now, if you followed me from the start of my journey, or if you know me very well, you'll know that I have struggled quite a lot with focus, being productive, staying on track, and I've complained about it a few times, probably on my social media. Now, these are the things that over time I have realized work well for me. These are the tips that I share with my clients that struggle with the same thing. So hopefully it helps you guys out as well. So let's jump right into it. Hack number 1 is preparation. So preparing ahead. You'll hear this throughout any sort of industry, whether it's entrepreneurship, whether you're an athlete, whether you're trying to get ready for an exam. All of the reward and the success, all of the outcomes filter back down to what you've done behind everything else. So what you see on the front is done way before. So preparation, prepare your day the night before. I did not really understand how essential this was. I kind of just used to do it every morning. I'd wake up and think, okay, what do I need to do today? That already gave me decision fatigue. So me waking up in the morning and having to think, what do I need to do today, has already set me back a little bit, because I've then got to think about it. I get overwhelmed with all the different things I could do that day. Instead of just having done it the night before, chosen the main key tasks that I need to get done the day after, laying them out into my work blocks, and then not having to think about what I need to do that day when I wake up in the morning. So do it the night before. I use a journal. I also use a spreadsheet online, but I like to write things down. So I write my journal every single night. I spend about half an hour planning my day. Normally I'll do that, I'll go to bed at 11:30, so I'll plan from 10:30 to 11 p.m. and I will write out in order everything I want to get done. So I'll have my gym time, my morning routine, I'll have an hour, and then I'll lay out the most important tasks of the day that take the most brain power to get out of the way at the very start. And then I'll have the mid-tier tasks, so stuff that doesn't require much brain power, but it's still very important. So it could be outreach, responding to inbound messages from potential prospects, etc. And then at the very end, I'll have miscellaneous activities. So anything that is admin-y or anything that I need to get done that day in general, like random tasks that don't even have to be associated to business, they come at the very end. So preparation is key. Take it from me, someone who didn't used to believe in preparing in advance. This has made one of the biggest differences to whether I actually have a good productive day and get shit done. So that's hack number 1. Let's move on to hack number 2, which is prime. So by prime, this is mainly your morning routine. It's the day of your work day. It's the morning of your work day. What are you going to do in that space of time before you actually start your work? So I'm going to have a whole other video on my morning routine and break down all the sections for you into detail, but I did still want to mention this here and just sort of go into the basics of what I mean by priming. So with priming, it would be your morning routine, what you generally want to do. So if you want to go to the gym, you might be the type of person that works out in the evening, in the morning. Personally, I like to work out first thing because I don't love going to the gym. I don't go for fun. I just go to get it done, to feel good about myself. And also that rush of endorphins in the morning kind of makes me feel happy and more ready for the day. Another reason that I like to work out in the morning is because I like to sort of build up as many small wins as possible before I actually start with my work. So for me, like, a win is getting out of bed on time, because I do struggle to get out of bed on time, and I will have another video on sleep as well, because that's another big problem that a lot of entrepreneurs face and come up against. But with my sleep, if I wake up on time, I have my alarm for 7:30 every morning, I get up on time, that's one of the biggest wins of the day for me. When I do that, I'm like, today's gonna be a good day because I got my ass out of bed. So getting out of bed is a win for me. Going to the gym is a win for me because I feel good. I walk to the gym and back, which is half an hour each way. So an hour of walking outside, fresh air, listening to a podcast. So I'm kind of doing 2 things at once. Instead of listening to Spotify, I'm taking in information and stuff that is geared towards motivation and getting work done and just learning something in the morning to get my brain to snap into action before I need to do my own stuff. So waking up, gym, then I come home and I have an hour where I do my morning routine. So that will be showering, drying my hair, whatever, getting dressed if I need to, that's boring stuff. And then I have my breakfast. So obviously I've just had a workout, so I want to eat, have good fuel in my body. I used to intermittent fast, but it doesn't really work well with me. I know a lot of, for some girls, it doesn't work as well. It works better for guys, I've heard. I'm not too educated on that, but for me, it doesn't work very well. I just would end up fatigued, low on energy, not being able to concentrate. So I'll come home, have my breakfast, shower, and then I will go through in my journal, I have on one side my affirmations and 3 things I'm grateful for, and then on the other side it has my schedule for the day. So with my affirmations, I'll choose one affirmation. I've got a list of 10. I'll choose one that I want to do and I'll write it out 10 times, and then that will kind of inspire me before I start my work with the end goal. But it's also important to realize all the small pieces of work and all the effort, all the little hurdles that you're going to have to come over before you reach that end goal. So I'll have the affirmation, and on the right hand side it's got all my tasks for the day that are going to help me reach it. So it kind of cross inspires me, if that makes sense. So I'll do my affirmations, I'll do 3 things I'm grateful for, and then I will meditate. Most days 10 minutes, some days 15 minutes. It depends how quickly I've got through the rest of my routine. So I'll meditate just before I start working. It helps me clear my mind, get rid of any stresses, anxiety, any thoughts that I've got in my brain that are fogging me, that I don't want to be there. Most of that will have gone from my workout, but if I still have something that I'm holding on to, meditation will help me acknowledge that and then let it go, so that I'm starting my work with a blank slate in my head, if that makes sense. So that is step number 2, hack number 2. Let's move on to hack number 3, which is distractions. So removing all distractions. The main one is your mobile phone. Now, see? It just happened. So the main one is your phone, because notifications come up, people are trying to talk to you, people are going to distract you. Your brain is going to just waver to whatever is moving. We are so addicted to social media nowadays, and it is impossible to work with your phone next to you. So get rid of your phone. I put my phone in the other room when I'm working. I literally had it next to me to use in this video. Put your phone in the other room, put it on flight mode so that you're not tempted if you go to the toilet to go and check your phone quickly for notifications. Put it in a drawer, put it on flight mode, do whatever you have to do to keep the phone away from you. When I used to live at home, if I needed to revise for an exam, I'd give it to my mum and be like, Mum, can you take my phone with you? And she would go out climbing or horse riding, doing whatever she was doing for the day, and I wouldn't have my phone because I'd want her to take it with her. So do whatever you need to do to get rid of your phone. It's very important. Get it away from you as much as possible. Your phone is the first distraction. Obviously, it's going to depend on your environment as well. So maybe you live at home with your family, you are in shared accommodation, you're at university trying to build up a business. Wherever you are, if you're in an environment where there's people around you, there's distractions, there's kids, there's a lot of sound, you need to do your best to try and control the environment. You can't control the internal when it comes to your business if you can't control the external that's going on around you. So as many variables as you can remove, like the things I just mentioned, the better. Now, there are a few ways you can do this. If there's a spare room in the house that someone doesn't use or a quieter area, go and use that. If you can go to a local workspace or a good cafe that's pretty quiet, then go do that. Just buy like 1 coffee in the morning. Normally if you go to the same cafe, a lot of times they recognize that you work there. You'll get free coffees too. So there's a few perks to that. But try and do whatever you can to put yourself in an environment which inspires you, or at the least is calm and distraction free as much as possible to help you really get into the zone. As a last resort, I use Bose Quiet Comfort headphones. I'll show them to you. So these headphones, literally noise cancelling, the best things I've actually invested in. Really, I don't know what it is. I think it's because I associate the headphones with deep work. So when I put on my headphones, like, I'm being like, serious business is about to happen. So having headphones is really good. Noise cancellation, it blocks out the external sound. Also good for playing binaural beats or using Brain FM or whatever channels you use, whatever playlists you listen to that help you get into a good deep state of work. So that's distractions. That's hack number 3. Oh, and I have another tip for distractions when it comes to your actual laptop. Now, I use Focus, which is a Chrome add-on which you can get online. Just search Focus. I'll leave the link below in the description box as well. If you use Focus, you can use it to select which websites apps you can block or allow for a set period of time, so you can focus for like 10 minutes, 2 hours, 7 hours, set it the night before so that in the morning you can't see any of those applications like Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is. Another way of doing it, which I found out about quite recently, is you can set up 2 users. So if you have a laptop, which you probably do if you're in online business, you can set up 2 different users, and you can have one which is geared for work and one that's geared for personal use, so chill time, relax, play, whatever it is. And basically what you can do is you can parental control yourself. So say for example, I had a work one, I could set up parental controls. You literally just go into Mac preferences, parental controls, and then you can select which websites are allowed. And I think it means that you can't access any of the other websites. So you could choose to just allow, say, Stripe, simple invoices, DocuSign, whatever websites you actually need to use for that day, and then you log into that user in the morning, and then you get all your work done without being allowed access to any other websites at all. And then when you flip onto your user, which is for downtime for play, you're consciously making the decision that you're going in to go and do something that isn't work related. So it's kind of good to have that separation, which you don't get using Focus. So I guess it's personal preference, maybe try them both out, see which one works better. But yeah, that's a little side tip for you for that point. Let's move on to the next one. So now we have Pomodoro. Pomodoro has been one of my genuine lifesavers. So the Pomodoro technique is a time management method. And basically what I used to do is I used to do work blocks. I think I started at like an hour and a half work blocks. And if you're someone like me who doesn't have a very long attention span, 10 minutes into that, I am off doing something completely random, and I've just screwed my whole work block. It gets to the end of the hour and a half, and all I've done is watch animal videos on YouTube and cleaned the entire house. So that did not work for me. Then I went down to 45-minute blocks. A little bit better, still found it kind of tricky. I don't like being sat down for a long period of time, which is ironic because that's a lot of my job. I sit down in front of a laptop all day, which I love, but my body gets so like anxious to move around. So basically what I did was I did a bit of research into the best way to have efficient work blocks. And one of the techniques that came back is actually what they use for, I think for children. I'm not embarrassed about it, it works really well for me. And it's called the Pomodoro technique. So basically what it is, it's a time block of 25 minutes with a 5-minute break and then another Pomodoro. So every hour you have 2 Pomodoros and there'll be 10 minutes total of break in between. So what I will do is, in my journal, when I plan my day the night before, is I will break down all the tasks into Pomodoros. So say, for example, I'm filming this video now, I would have 1 Pomodoro to record. So to film, I've got 25 minutes. Then as soon as I finish filming, if I finish a bit earlier, then I just get a bit of a longer break. But you use a timer, a Pomodoro timer, which I'll link down below as well, the one that I use, and it has an alarm at the end of 25 minutes. At the end of that 25 minutes, as soon as I finish it, I'll have a 5-minute break. So I like to put on loud music on Spotify, just some loud like rap music, whatever it is I want to listen to. I'll run around for a little bit, get rid of my energy, and I'll sit back down and then have another 25-minute block where I'll edit the video I just shot. So that's the Pomodoro technique. It works really well for me. 2 benefits of it. So what I've noticed it does is it removes the anxiety of starting a task that you think is going to take you a long time. So say, for example, I've got a big project, so I'm building a funnel, okay? So I'm building a funnel and I know it's going to take me a really long time. It's going to take me a couple days. Instead of me just having work blocks and saying, right, like work for 7 hours on funnel, I break it down into each step I need to do. So it could be create the landing page, film the video for the landing page, do the second page, like whatever it is, break it down into little tasks and break it into the Pomodoros, so that for each Pomodoro I only have to do a little part of the funnel, and then it's less scary for me to actually start that work block in the first place. So it gets rid of that start anxiety. There must be a word for that, I'm not sure what it's called. So that's the first benefit. The second benefit is that most of the time, all the stress and the anxiety that you have around starting work. So say, for example, you are cold calling. I know I used to panic cold calling. I used to hype myself up for about 5 hours and then get 10 minutes of cold calls done, and that would be me for the day. And I just know that the hardest part of cold calling for me wasn't actually the cold call itself or the conversation with that person. It was sitting down and typing in that number to start cold calling. And I wish I'd used this technique when I was cold calling a couple of years ago, but with this technique, because you only have a really short period of time to do the task, you don't really feel committed. So you don't have to commit to a long period of time. So that commitment fear that you have to cold calling or to this task is eliminated, because you say to yourself, well, I need to sit down and cold call for 25 minutes, or I need to sit down and record a YouTube video for 25 minutes, or I only need to sit down and do outreach for 25 minutes, or whatever it is you need to do, it's only 25 minutes. And by the time you get into it, you realize that the fear was irrational and that it's actually not that bad, because what's the worst thing that's going to happen on a cold call, for example? Someone's going to say no. That's literally the worst thing that's going to happen. They're not going to come find you and hurt you. Like, you're not in danger from the phone. Like, the phone is an irrational fear that people have when it comes to cold calling. And with the Pomodoro, because it's 25 minutes, it eliminates that fear. And by the time you get into that cycle and you're 20 minutes in, you're like, oh, this isn't actually that bad. So when it comes to your 5-minute break, you're pretty pumped and hyped, because you're like, that wasn't that bad. I've got a break, and then I go again for only 25 minutes. So I'm super passionate about the Pomodoro technique. Please try it out and let me know, because I know a lot of people have never heard of it. They don't use it. So I'm really hoping that this is going to change the way a lot of entrepreneurs work, for those of you who do struggle with focus and lack of productivity when it comes to starting a task. So let me know what you think of that tip down in the comments below. Let's move on to the last hack. So the last hack is reward, which is always great. So if you've heard of operant conditioning, it's basically where you associate a certain task with negative feedback or positive feedback, so a reward or a punishment. And this is how you teach. I mean, obviously it's controversial. Some people say that you shouldn't punish children or animals when they do something wrong. It should just be positive reinforcement for the things that they do right. But it's the same principle, where basically if you do something correct, you get a reward for it. If you do something wrong, you get a punishment for it. And with this system, I'm not going to say punish yourself for anything. I'm actually going to say reward yourself for when things go great. So say, for example, I'll use myself as an example. So say I plan my day tomorrow, I plan it tonight. And by the end of tomorrow, I've completed all of my tasks. I've ticked them all off, super happy with myself. I'm then going to go and reward myself for having completed my day, for having had a good day, because then my body is going to realize that whenever I stick to my schedule, whenever I complete my schedule and tick off those boxes, something good happens to me. And then that basically creates a positive reinforcement, where when I get that reward and it feels good and I have a rush of endorphins, I want to do the good thing again to get another reward. So that reward can come in different formats. It depends what you enjoy. So it could be having a cookie. I mean, when I use food, I go a bit overboard because I can't control myself. So I don't use food personally, because I wouldn't have one cookie, it'd be a pack. So I don't use food personally, but if you have good self-control, then by all means use a cookie or whatever it is that you want to eat as a treat. So you could use food. It could be going for a glass of wine with friends. That's sometimes what I'll do. I'll be like, oh, let's go for drinks tonight, and I'll have a glass of wine, go outside. It's nice. I get to leave the house, and I feel good about going out and not working because I've applied myself and been focused all day. So it could be food, going to meet friends. It could be going to the cinema. It could be hanging out with your family. It could be watching a movie. It could be mindlessly watching YouTube for 3 hours. Like, whatever it is, whatever you want to do, you give that to yourself, and then you do that every time you have a great day. You have like a little reward. Another way you can set it up is also if you have weekly targets, monthly targets, yearly targets, your reward system is going to alter. Well, it's not going to alter. The system's going to be the same, but the reward might become greater. So say you have a great week, you might go out for a fancy dinner. Or if you have a great month, you might buy yourself a pair of shoes or a handbag you wanted. Or if you have a great quarter, you could go on holiday for a couple of days. If you have a great year, you could buy yourself a Lambo. Like, I don't know, whatever it is that you want to do, reward yourself whenever you achieve or accomplish something great that's helped you get closer to your goals. So that was everything for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I'm super excited to be talking about this stuff on my channel, because a lot of my content is based around LinkedIn, and I thought it would be cool to address some of these topics for other entrepreneurs, because I get a lot of these questions on social media, so it's nice to be able to talk about it in a video, and I really hope that you guys found value in it and enjoyed it. And watch out for part 2 of this series, which will be coming out in a couple of days' time. It's going to be all about mindset, which is one of the big ones. So I will see you then.